Hi, and welcome to Fitness and Friends with Dr. Bob. I am your humble host, Dr. Bob Ruano. Before we introduce our first guest today, I want to just give you a brief description of what this show is all about. Each week, I'm going to sit down with local athletes, coaches, trainers, therapists, recovery experts, and we're going to go over some X's and O's in the health and fitness industry. But beyond that, I'm really more interested in their stories, and that is how they've overcome failures and obstacles to achieve the successes that they have, either with them personally or with their athletes. And a spoiler alert, it's not always a smooth ride to the top. There are always obstacles and failures that get in our way, but it doesn't seem to derail these people. So, having said that, we're going to get into and introduce our first guest, Adrian Botteri. Now, just to give you a little background and some bio on Adrian. Born San Franciscan, raised in France, and educated in the UK. He's a financial analyst and an unbelievable CrossFit athlete. Although he's one of those guys where I think if he could pick up a hockey stick or a basketball, he'd have success in any of those ventures. So once you get past the funny accent, you'll see that this is a really wicked smart guy. And just watching him from afar and his decision-making abilities, well, that's really what intrigued me and maybe even the genesis of this show. So without further ado, let me introduce Adrian.
Thank you, Bob.
What's up, bud? Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for making me feel so special. I'm not sure what accent you're talking about. But,
it's that deep Texan accent. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or from San Francisco.
That's right, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I did not know that's where you were born.
Yeah.
Now, when was that? It was a long time ago.
That was, a couple of centuries ago.
Yeah.
1986.
Okay. All right. And how long were you there?
Not long.
Yeah.
Like a year or two.
Okay. And then
just enough to get the accent.
And then straight to.
Then straight to France.
Okay.
Actually, yes, straight to France until my first 2 years of college. Then moved to the UK for 3 years, and back to Paris for maybe 3.
Okay.
And then Gainesville since then.
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 in Paris.
Okay.
Like
now, why the move from San Francisco to France?
So in Paris, I met my ex-wife, who is from Louisiana.
Okay.
And
let me back up. So when you were a baby, you moved to France.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Military or
no? Just so my dad, was that the question you asked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'm listening.
Thanks. Thanks for being engaged.
So, U.S. to France is just my dad was, he's a physician and he was doing, I don't know, like a PhD in San Francisco.
Yeah. And
then after that, he got offered a job, I believe, in Switzerland back then for a pharmaceutical company. So we lived in France, but close to the Swiss border.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. International here.
Yeah.
All right. And so how was that?
Spy.
Growing up in, well, I guess you knew no different.
Growing up in France, I just thought I was French.
Right. Well, you sound it. I don't think anybody would deny that.
Yeah, I just thought I was French, never questioned it. And then once I reached 18, I think the idea crossed my mind to just become a French citizen.
Yeah.
And then realized that I had like this much paperwork to do. And I was like, you know what, actually.
Right.
I think I'll just stick with, because my dad is Italian, so actually.
Well, that's the last name is Italian last name.
So actually, yeah, in Europe, if you have like a citizenship from any of the countries that are part of the Schengen area, which is almost like the European Union,
mm-hmm.
you can live and work in pretty much any of these countries without needing a visa.
Got it.
So I just, so I kept Italian, and my mom is actually Belgian, so I had Italian and Belgian back then. So I was fine.
Yeah, you're all over the place.
Yes. And then, and then to come back to the US, I just had to renew my passport. And then I remember landing in the U.S. The guy at customs, the guy said, "Welcome back, sir." I was like,
Welcome back.
"What are you talking about? I've never been here before." At least I didn't remember, but yeah. So yeah.
All right, very good. So to tie this all into like the health and fitness thing. So I met you 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And probably, well, how long have you been in the States or back in the States?
7 years.
7 years. Okay, so shortly after you came back, and I remember you first it was the accent. I think that's what caught my attention. That or the 2 different colored socks. That or knee sleeves.
So yeah.
But when when I saw your high level gymnastic skills, and I know you're humble, you won't admit to any of this, and the way you move the barbell, it's like physics ceases to exist when you're holding a barbell. How's that for a compliment?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's why I named you, right? What was it? Barbell Baryshnikov. Because he just dances. Yeah. He dances with the barbell, and the weights just fly up.
Yeah, not sure it's always super efficient, but I guess it looks good.
Well, you don't show it. When you suffer, you don't show it.
Yeah.
You just pass out. We've seen a number of times with very heavy loads overhead, and Adrian just slowly starts to fall forward.
I start looking for something on the ground.
Can
never find
a
it.
Soft landing. Yeah. So when did you begin that? When did you start that type of training?
So actually, yes. Growing up, I did like pretty much every single sport you can think of. Mm-hmm. I don't know, obviously skiing. I did a lot of bicycle riding, both mountain bike.
Oh, that's right. You were a cyclist.
Yeah. I did a lot of that. Way too much. I burnt out real bad.
Yeah.
Skiing, tennis, swimming, horseback riding, fencing.
That sounds very European.
Probably so. Yeah. But anyways, competed in every single one of those until my parents got tired of driving me around to competitions. Mm-hmm. So after so long, they would ask me to start a new sport, hoping that I wouldn't do so good.
And that was just never the case, huh?
I don't know. I don't know.
You could tell. It's just like your body mechanics and your attitude, and it's fearless somewhat. And I think and that was one of the reasons I wanted you on here today was like. Where did you develop that, or do you think that you just have your amygdala never fully developed?
I'm not too sure. I feel like when I was a kid, I feel like I wasn't really scared of much. I would always climb trees, and I'd like to just jump off of high stuff. And then, I had a bunch of friends who were pretty much the same, and like we would go skiing and just jump off of cliffs. And
who could jump that? Yeah.
Without knowing what was at the bottom.
See, this
obviously.
As a parent of a child who I believe has that same fearless attitude, it scares me, but it also thrills me too. That that fear isn't going to stop him from doing something.
And I guess there was always that competition between, obviously me and my brother.
Yeah.
And he was pretty much the same way. Like, thinking back, sometimes we talk about it, thinking about the time where we had, like, motorcycles when we were, like, teenagers. Mm-hmm. And it was always from point A to point B, like, as fast as possible. There was no such thing.
Didn't you say you guys rigged those
what?
Didn't you say you guys rigged those motorcycles?
Like, oh, yeah, they were, like, souped up, like, modified as much as you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, and funny because now my brother has 2 kids, very young kids, and he's like, they will never have anything that involves just 2 wheels.
Right.
They'll be like they'll be driving like an armored tank.
It's the pendulum swing.
But we would we would race each other at pretty much everything, any sports. Actually, funny story, when I was doing judo. One day he showed up. And
judo, you didn't even mention that one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so I did judo for a little while as well, until he showed up. So I was always, and I guess I'm still not very big, but I was always like a small kid growing up, and he was significantly bigger. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing judo with my friends, and it was great.
Yeah.
And then one day he showed up.
I take it he's an older brother.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He showed up, and at the end of each class, we would do like a little, I don't even know how you call that anymore, but like a little fight, I guess.
Yeah.
And so you had to pick your partner, and he looks at me and says, I want you. That was his first class. He just picked me up, slammed me on the floor. I started crying, and I never went back. And he kept on going until black belt.
Is that right?
Yeah. But,
So he had a small taste of success by whooping you up, and
yeah. But I feel like, I think it made me tougher, a lot tougher.
Oh, no doubt about it.
But yeah, so we would like compete at pretty much everything, race at everything. So much so that one day I'll always remember that, the story about motorcycle and stuff. We grew up in the Alps, in the mountains, lots of twisty roads where you can't see what's around the corner.
I've watched Tour de France year after year, and it's beautiful.
So one day he was going, just funny story, he was going as fast as possible in a blind turn, and there happened to be a school bus going the other way in the turn, and he hit the school bus, like face to face.
Unbelievable.
Not a scratch. He actually ended up getting ejected from his motorcycle and landed on the rooftop of the bus. And so he was like, what the heck is going on here? He got down, and apparently everybody was crying in the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking
Scared the crap out of these kids.
Yeah, thinking I was like somewhere in the engine bay or something.
Peel him out of it.
And and his motorcycle was like an accordion, just like completely squished.
How is that
And he
possible?
just, I guess he just got down and called my mom and was like, hey, Mom, I had an accident. And my mom showed up, she was like, oh.
What?
Yeah, it's funny. But, and so to get back to how I got involved with CrossFit, so when I started working on the stock markets back in Paris, I had decided that I really, wanted to focus on that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of stopped working out for a while. Because I really wanted that. I had decided that was my priority. I guess I was really I don't know. I felt like I needed to do that back then. Until one day, I was during my lunch break on YouTube, and I see that video with Rich Froning and it's CrossFit Games. I'm like, dang! And before I moved to Paris, I had started doing actually in the UK. I had, without knowing what it was, I had started doing Olympic weightlifting.
Really?
So yeah, it was just one day, friend of mine, my good friend back then in the UK, and myself, we were working out just at the college gym, and some guy approached us and he was like, yeah, you guys look pretty strong and stuff like that. Would you be interested in trying Olympic weightlifting? And I looked at my friend and I was, what is that? He's like, okay, yeah, let's go try. I was like, sure, you're my friend, you're looking out for me.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty cool,
Yeah.
So we show up. He said, oh, okay, so we do it, we do that over there. It's like an old church that had been transformed into, very old church that had been transformed into an old school gym.
Okay.
And we walk in there, sign up at the reception, and then we open the door to the weightlifting room. And then there were two coaches, and one of them was there that day, really just hardcore guy. He's like, what are you guys doing here? And we're like, we're just here to try out. And and she says, no. He says, no, there's no trying out here. If you step inside this room, you guys agree to compete for me.
There you go. Never done a single lift.
Yeah, no, never done either a snatch or clean jerk. So again, I was like, I had no clue what I was getting into. So I just looked at my friend. He was like, sure, let's give it a try. And so anyway, so we did that probably for a couple of years. Then when I moved to Paris, wasn't really doing anything. But when I saw that YouTube video, I was like, oh, it's I kind of know how to do Olympic weightlifting. And I've done, all sorts of gymnastic stuff.
Right.
In my backyard growing up.
So it's almost like your childhood has prepared you for CrossFit.
And so I take the video and I send it to my boss, and I say, watch this, I'm going to be doing this soon. And he's like, right, this only exists in the US. I was like, hold my beer, or hold my water bottle.
or my my Chardonnay, or
And yes, my Pinot Noir.
yeah, right.
Anyways, so I went on to some forums
Yeah.
and found a group of like 5 guys who said, hey, we're doing CrossFit by the Seine, which is the river in Paris.
Yeah.
Every night, if you want to join us, just show up at 6 p.m. And so I showed up. And the first day it was just to watch, okay? And I remember seeing that guy struggling, just doing front squats within a Metcon, obviously, with 135 pounds. I was like, dang, weak-ass people over there. I'm not sure I want to do that. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And the next day I came back with my gear and did a workout. Almost threw up probably. And figured out that there was a bunch of movements that I couldn't do.
Yeah. Which probably only challenged you.
Yeah, and I thought that it was actually a lot of fun, and obviously I really looked up to the guys that you saw on on YouTube and stuff like that. And I was like,
yeah. I think a lot of us started that way, just seeing
like
it
a lot of fun,
seeing it on TV and or seeing videos. And for some people, it's kind of a scary thing to see, but for others, it's motivating. That's the way I kind of came into it as well. I saw it on TV, and to me, that looked fun.
Yeah,
like I liked the challenge of it. I played a lot of different sports growing up, baseball and wrestling and gymnastics, and I always lifted. But that seemed to be like a combination of all those things in one. So it was a good experience. So from that, so now you're in Paris. You're working as an analyst.
Yeah.
Okay, as a financial analyst. So your career is taking off there.
Yeah.
Are you competing now?
Yes, actually. So as soon as I got into CrossFit, I just started drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I did it, but I was working a whole lot back then. But I would still manage to train actually twice a day, which is most likely was too much. But that's how you learn. You just make mistakes.
Yeah.
So I was making all the mistakes I could.
That's great.
Sometimes just the radio show we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I would just run back from the gym, which was like 10 minutes away from the office.
Yeah.
And just like run into the room and grab the microphone and be like, yeah. So
kind of the way you did here. He came running in at 11:59, jumped over the table, and here he sits.
Yeah, dove straight on stage. But yeah, so I started working out a lot. And did competitions in a few countries across Europe, so France, Belgium, the Netherlands. Actually, I think it was my very first CrossFit competition. That was probably one of the best competitions I've ever done in Denmark.
Wow.
I've never been to Denmark before, and it's actually it's very nice. And it was like the competition was like outside on a little port.
Yeah,
and cool. Actually, back then, I had no clue, obviously, but a bunch of those people who were at that competition are now CrossFit Games athletes.
That's really cool.
But that was I don't know, that was maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So they look very different. I mean, back then we all looked like kids.
Yeah.
But you could tell already the ones who were going to go pretty far.
Right.
Because
their game was that much different than the rest.
Man, the intensity that they were putting in the workouts, and there was so much suffering and drooling involved.
And you love that.
I was like, I mean, it was great. It was a great competition.
Yeah.
And just to see that, some of those guys, made it that far, it's pretty cool. It's like I get to say, hey, I competed with that guy.
Exactly.
He looked totally different. Like he looked like he didn't have like a single hair on his chin.
You don't have to qualify it,
But yeah, it was awesome.
So here you are. You're in Paris.
Yep.
Got a great job. Your athletic endeavors are taking off.
Yep.
And you decide, okay, I'm ready to scrap it and move.
The job was fine, but I probably did a little too much of it.
Work-wise?
Yes. And so I kind of burnt out. And I guess I'm not too much of a big city kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't like having too many people around me, and feel like it brings a lot of like unnecessary stress.
Yeah.
And everything that comes along with living in a big city.
Yeah.
So I was ready for a change. The first, I guess, idea was to move to New Zealand, but quickly found out that it's actually not that easy to get a visa to go to New Zealand. It was, however, significantly easier for me to just renew my passport and go to the US.
Okay.
And I guess when I make moves like that, I like to go in with no expectations and no like real plan. And so my ex-wife back then used to actually live and work in Gainesville.
Yeah.
And so she said, I think, Gainesville is pretty green and it's not too big. I think you like it. I was like, sure, let's do it.
See, that's the difference maker. That you had no expectation for the move. Just go and just let the chips fall where they may.
Yes, I did, however, really think that the move to the US would be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I really thought the US was just France with a different language.
And they just stamp your card and, okay, welcome back.
And it's very different, culture-wise, and
Yeah.
so it took me a little while to like adapt,
Right.
and like become like a real American.
Yeah.
American.
Okay, so you make the move. Now, obviously, all of your licensures, your certificates, none of those transferred. So you've got to redo all that financial.
Yeah, so I mean, my diplomas, like my college diplomas, were like recognized here.
Okay.
But as far as like I guess like like professional certifications and stuff like
Series
that.
6 and 7.
Yes,
and all that
there's no
stuff.
such thing over there.
Yeah.
So no, nothing was.
So you basically got to start your career all over again.
Yes, actually, it was very difficult for me to find a job when I got here.
Yeah.
I guess the main answer was that I was getting when applying was that I was overqualified, and I guess I was asking for positions which obviously are the positions that you can get without necessarily, I don't know, having any experience or connection in the country or in the city. But the answer I was getting was you're overqualified, and we know that if as soon as you find something better, you'll just leave us and go somewhere else. It's like, okay, well, as of now, nothing else. So I even applied to like deliver food.
And
like
overqualified.
And no, literally, I was told, well, you're brand new here. You don't know the roads. I was like, well, I know how to use a GPS. How about that? And no, I even got rejected to deliver food. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so I ended up meeting the CEO of a credit union here in town, and he offered me a job. He said, I have a teller position for you if you want. I said, sure. I knew I was going to work my way up.
Well, that reminds me of something that you said this past summer when we were training in my garage, which leads us to this next big move that you're making. Because again, you picked up, you're about to, plant your flag, in the top of the mountain in France, one of the Alps, and you decide, nope, I'm going to go start a new adventure, and you come over to the States, and same thing, starting from the beginning and work your way back up again. But you said, you're going to quit your job. Which, by the way, just to cut to the chase, you once again worked your way up into a large financial firm, and was having a lot of success with it, and decided, this is not for you. Is that kind of in a nutshell? And that
it's a combination of things.
It seems like when you described, and we'll talk about Tesla and Elon Musk, that you realize that if you're going to invest your time into something, it needs to be something that you believe in.
Yes, for sure.
And so in our garage session, when you told me you were leaving, I mean, I was obviously very upset to hear this news, but very inspired because you said, I said, you have a job set up? No. And so, okay, where are you going? He's like, I don't know. We're going to go to Utah. And
Yeah.
he's, I'm gonna work for Tesla. Even if I have to push a broom, I will work my way up. And it's that attitude. That's like fearless attitude. You know, whether it's driving a motorcycle 80 miles an hour around, crazy bends in the Alps, or quitting your job to.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much about being fearless, rather than looking for like new experiences.
Yeah.
Obviously, being comfortable with, and again, I guess you could see that fearless or, being comfortable with uncertainty.
Yeah.
Which I guess is more or less the same.
Yeah.
To some extent, but yeah, I feel like in like a lot of, I don't know, places I've lived in and jobs that I've been through, I feel like fairly quickly, I feel like I've seen most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, well then, let's try and learn something new.
Yeah.
Um,
So you're saying this next adventure that you're taking off, like you said, you sold your house, and basically sold everything.
Sold most of everything, yeah.
So, and something you said earlier before we started the broadcast was that it provides a lot of perspective when you have to, whatever you're going to take, it's got to fit in the car. And if it doesn't fit in the car,
yeah. So what we're
out.
doing is, I told my girlfriend when I decided to move out of Gainesville, I said, so we're moving out of Gainesville. And
by the way, we're having spaghetti for dinner, and you need to get rid of all your belongings.
So, and we are selling everything. We're taking just one car, whatever fits in a car, we're taking, and everything else is going. And it's, yeah, so like I was telling you, it's a really good decision making exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you have a house full of things that you think you need.
Yeah.
And you have to make all of those things fit because you need them, right? So you have to make that fit in the car.
Yeah.
Because if ever you get rid of something that you need, well, I mean, you're screwed.
Yeah. Was that a process? I mean, like you start with all these items, and you say, of these items that we really want, only 3 of them could go.
There was a first
different phases.
first phase going through everything.
Yeah.
And you start putting, I need this, so we're going to put it in the garage. So we're emptying one room after the other and just storing everything in the garage before we close on the house.
Yeah.
And as we were going through things, I was like, this is never going to fit in the car. It's like, it's going to fit. It's going to fit. I was like, okay, we should get a roof box, like a roof cargo box, right?
Yeah.
She's like, no, we're not going to need that.
That's what she said?
I was like, we're definitely going to need that. No, Adrian, wait, we're not going to need that. I was like, okay. 2 days later, I'm just like, I'm getting that roof box because we're going to need it.
Yeah.
And if I don't get it and we end up needing it, I'm going to be upset because I knew we needed it. So I end up getting that roof box, and and it was still nowhere near, enough, or like it was like way too many things to fit in the car, even including so there was phase 1 where we push everything to the garage, like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Then I started making trips to the house we were going to go to after we closed on the house, and I realized that it's taking me like 2 trips, just like fully loaded, where the back of the car is like sinking in.
Not gonna happen.
I'm driving at night and people are flashing me because my headlights are going straight into their eyes.
Yeah.
So then for like a couple of days we were sitting a house for a couple of friends, and so at their house we went through like a second stage of getting rid of things.
Yeah.
And then we're now staying with some other friends, and we're going through the third phase of going rid of more things.
Let me ask you this: what phase were the animals eliminated?
So the animals are not eliminated.
Okay. Just making sure.
No, actually, so some other friends are taken care of. So we have 3 cats.
Yeah.
And some other friends are taking care of them. Cody and Ashley, if you're watching, thank you so much. So they're taking care of them until we find where we want to settle down, which I don't know.
I was going to say, going into this, so right now, the ultimate destination is
In theory, yeah,
somewhere in Utah.
On paper, it's Utah, but we're planning on stopping in a few places along the way.
Yeah,
just to check it out.
Man,
and
that's a really adventurous attitude.
Yeah, but the thing is that,
it.
like, nowadays, it's so easy.
It's not, though. You make it look very easy. Just like when you lift, you make lifting look very easy. But it's, we have so many anchors and
I think it's
so
because
mental blocks.
A lot of people just think that the job they have or the house they have is like it's that one thing that they were able to get, and that there's no way they'll ever get anything as good or even better.
Yeah.
But that's 100% wrong.
Yeah.
Like, there are many things that are way better than what you currently own or the job that you may have, or at least potentially out there.
Right.
But the thing is that if you never try and check it out, then you'll never know.
It reminds me of a quote, J.P. Morgan's. I figure you're a financial guy, but a quote I came across right here. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
It's a very good quote.
Yeah, that's right.
I like it.
Own it, learn it, live it. Well, Adrian, I appreciate the time here, and I wish you and Ina the best in your travels. I know wherever you're going to end up, it's going to be on your terms, and we're all very we admire that.
Yeah,
It's
going to be fun for sure.
So, if we could, we'll wrap things up here with maybe a final question.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're doing here.
You see what I'm doing here, and I think it has to do with that. And you were kind of getting into it. How can we learn about, like, what is our priorities? Because it seems like your priority is what, your passion, right? Your sense of adventure.
Yeah, actually, I don't know that I actually have a straight answer to that.
Yeah.
But I do think about that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess I think it's important for everyone to, like, just ask yourself, what is the purpose of your life?
Mm-hmm. Is it to sit at a desk and do the same thing for 20 years?
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, it sounds...
like, what is life? Yeah. Is it like doing a 9 to 5? Is it about money?
Yeah.
Is it about freedom? Is it about helping others?
Yeah.
I think figuring that out is very important, and I don't know that I actually have figured it out yet.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I'm just jumping from one place to the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do enjoy, like.
Well, it's exciting to see and to watch and inspiring. That's
getting new experiences, learning new stuff, like remodeling a house.
You've become very good at that lately.
I don't know. I don't know that I would say very good, but I mean,
you know how to help.
Yeah, I've learned a couple of stuff.
Yeah,
just figured out if some people can do it, and I can do it too.
I love that. Let's send it there.
Well,
thanks, my man.
Yeah, thank you.
A pleasure. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and go out and start making some decisions based on your heart and your gut, and don't necessarily feel so trapped in what you're doing. That tomorrow can be different. Get a fresh start tomorrow. So have a great day, and we'll see you next week.